Welcome to 3D character modeling with your instructor, Delminquoe Cunningham. Now, before we get into this series of human modeling, one thing that I really wanted to talk about, and we are doing a more organic model, but one thing that I really wanted to stress with throughout this series and throughout any series that you'll ever probably see me engage in, I'm not trying to teach the software. So this is not a Maya class. Even though I use Maya within this tutorial workshop, it's not insistent that you use Maya. I have seen people use programs such as Max, Maya, Silo, Softimage, TrueSpace for people that are really old in the modeling and media set. But there's tons of programs out there, and they all are about digital content creation. So realistically, what I'm trying to do is give you some of the best practices that I've found throughout my career as a 3D modeler to help you with your modeling skills and to help to move you forward, and to advance in your modeling as you move forward, trying to get some of these skill sets down and things down. So one of the first things that I want to talk about before we start modeling, and we really want to deal with in this first set of videos, doing the head, doing the face, because one of the things that I've found that many people often have many issues with is doing organic models and realistically working with the face, getting those edge loops in there correctly, getting the topology to flow the way that it should be flowing. That's always been a struggling area that I've seen many artists actually get kind of caught up in, or it ends up being a stumbling block for many artists. So one of the things looking at when you're starting to do an organic model, one is to find yourself some good reference images. Now, you want to make sure that your reference images have very little perspective, very little, depth of field. You don't want to have like an image of somebody that was shot with like a fisheye lens or anything of that nature, or any kind of effects on top of it. So you want to make sure that you're getting yourself a image that is pretty much 100% as clean as you can get it. So with no distortions of any, or as little distortion as any kind that you can have. Because I mean, realistically, the lens of a camera is curved, so there's going to be a bit of distortion, but we don't want, things like I was saying before, like a fisheye lens effect or something of that nature on your image. Now, the other thing that I usually do when I'm starting to actually get this image ready to bring into Maya is that for me, I will actually bring the images into Photoshop. So I have these images here of this gentleman, and these came from 3D.sk, and I know a lot of artists out there that use 3D.sk, but these are images from 3D.sk, um, and the really great thing about this is that over the years, 3D.sk has become a repository for reference images. So I think it's very important that you have a library of images that you're using, that you're keeping this stuff so you can have these things to be able to go back to as for reference. So one thing, looking at this right now, inside of Photoshop, and we can see we're inside of Photoshop and not inside of Maya, but here inside of Photoshop, what I've done is I've put down some ruler lines to actually be able to line up major parts of the facial topology of my subject. So I can see here, this is right near the bottom of the eyelid, right near the top of the eyelids, right here. So I've got this stuff. It's kind of, it's still a little bit iffy in places, but the major points are being met, and that's the important part. Because when I start modeling this, when I have my left and my front view in there, because realistically, all you need are two views to be able to model something in 3D. And hopefully, you can always get your front view and your side view at least. Sometimes when you're doing, hard surface models like a vehicle or something of that nature, having your front, your side, your, top, and whatever views you have gives you more control over what you're modeling. But realistically, all you need is a really good front view and a really good side view. Those two views will give you a three-dimensional shape, which is, really a really cool thing. Really awesome when you to sit down and work with this different type of with this mindset. So first things first, I've got this topology. I've got this kind of facial topology laid out, and I can see that these things are matching up pretty nice. If I come in here, and you can even see, here's my little www.3d.sk. But if I come in here and I turn down and I turn the opacity of this layer down and kind of just overlay this on top of this, I can see that, I'm getting, this is lining up really where it needs to be. I've got this all lined up. At this point, all I really want to do is go back in here and adjust my cropping so that I can have, an image that's, compact. I don't want this super huge image. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to scale my side view down to get this where it needs to be. I think that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and hold down Control. And let's just select around this guy. So I've got this selection going on. I'm just going to make sure I have my marquee tool. And just bring this in a little bit. So I'm going to transform my selection. Just bring this down to right where I want it to. Alright, so now that I've got both of these kind of lined up the way that I need them to be, I'm just going to come in here and crop this image down. So I'm going to crop this. So now what makes this really nice and neat about this process is that when I bring this up to 100%, I've got both of my images. They maintain their space. The topology of the face, and yeah, we're talking about topology right now just as like facial landmarks. Let's change that up. Let's just say facial landmarks. So the landmarks I have right now are lined up. The face is looking good, and I'm gonna go ahead and save these guys out. So I'm gonna go and save these out one at a time. So I'm gonna save this one here. So let's go and let's deselect this first, and I'm gonna do to save this. And I'm going to save this as a JPEG. And I don't know why I saved this for the web. Let's cancel that. Let's not save it for web. So let's just save this as. And I've already made myself a folder. I've already made myself a folder inside of here. Inside of my Maya folder. So Maya projects, head. I'm just going to put this in my source images folder. Just for me. So I'm going to make this left head and make this a JPEG. Save it. Maximum, yes. So let's turn this guy off, and I've still got this guy left in here. And that little black over there is fine. It's not a huge thing. So I'm going to come back in here again and save. And we're going to say this is a JPEG. My documents again, go down to Maya and projects, and I have this head folder in there. And once again, inside of this, I'm just going to click on this so it makes this easier. And change this to front. Save. And we're good. So I've got both of my images saved. And in the next video, we're going to bring these into, I'm going to have these set up inside of Maya, and we're going to start the modeling process.